Thank you to the fine folks at Nexium 24HR for sponsoring this video. I want to get something out of the way first. Sure, as someone with a reasonable social media following, I have the opportunity to do quite a few sponsored posts. That being said, I am a board-certified internal medicine physician first. Therefore, there's not any amount of money anybody could pay me to say something that I wouldn't already say for free to a friend, a family member, or someone in my clinic. So if you're worried about this clouding my clinical judgment, it will not. I've also run all of this information by a gastroenterologist to ensure this is up to date with clinical guidelines. So as of this recording, everything's up to date. Now that that's out of the way, Nexium 24HR has asked me to do a video on frequent heartburn and how they may be able to help. So let's jump in. So what is frequent heartburn and why do we care? Frequent heartburn is defined as heartburn that happens twice or more per week and interferes with your daily routine. What causes these symptoms is when stomach acid finds its way into the esophagus or the food pipe where it shouldn't be. So why do we care? I like to think of it this way. Your stomach is built to handle the stomach acid. Your esophagus is not. If you took stomach acid and put it on your skin, it would burn a lot like it happens in your esophagus. Not only can this be terribly uncomfortable, but if it happens repeatedly, changes in the bottom of your esophagus can start to occur, and that can lead to cancer. So what, everyone with heartburn just starts on a pill? Not so fast. Sure, there are some that may want to just throw pills at everybody as kind of a reflex, but I'm not that guy. The first few steps have nothing to do with pills, so let's go through how I would treat frequent heartburn. Step 1 is looking at something called food hygiene. No, not how clean your food is, but more your habits around eating, especially close to when you usually get heartburn. One of the most common things I see in caring for patients who get frequent heartburn is that after this patient has a large meal, usually dinner, they may sit in a recliner or lay down to rest and digest. Seems reasonable until we think about how gravity can actually help. The esophagus is above the stomach for the most part, and while upright, gravity can bring the food and the stomach acid down. Laying flat, gravity can't help as much. So step 1, make sure we're upright after a large meal. Step 2 is everyone's least favorite. It's a dietary audit. For so many people, there are certain foods that may precipitate heartburn. Some of the more common ones I see are alcohol, chocolate, spicy foods, tomato-based foods, and citrus fruits. There are 2 ways to really tease out the culprit. The first one is not my first choice, it's to go straight to a super bland diet. Over the course of time, we reintroduce foods nice and slow, and once we've found something that we've introduced, and then the heartburn comes back, we may have found an answer. The other option is what I generally prefer, which is keeping a food diary. Sure, it's more tedious, but it allows you to keep living your life as you had. After a few weeks of this monitoring, you'll likely find a pattern. We limit that food or that group of foods and see how you do. Should none of that work, or if the foods that cause you heartburn are not foods you're willing to give up, we then may look to medication. Nexium 24HR, the active ingredient of which is esomeprazole, is an over-the-counter medication you take once a day that lasts, as you may have guessed from the name, 24 hours. Many medications try to nullify the acid your stomach produces naturally, but Nexium 24HR actually works by limiting the amount of acid you produce, preventing the cause of heartburn instead of just masking it. So what, now with heartburn you just have to be on a medication for the rest of your life? Not so fast. The proper way to use this medication is to take it once per day for 2 weeks. During those 2 weeks, we might start adjusting some lifestyle factors that put you at a higher risk of heartburn. Things like losing weight if pertinent, staying upright after big meals, or limiting causative foods. Once those 2 weeks are up, we reassess. This reassessment may include nothing at all, like your symptoms are just gone, or we try you carefully off the medication for a little while, or we send you to a gastroenterologist for further workup, or a lot of things in between, but those are outside the scope of this video. So to recap, frequent heartburn may be heartburn experienced 2 or more times per week that interferes with your day-to-day life. Generally, the first thing I do for patients is look at lifestyle and potential triggers. Once those have been properly vetted, moving to Nexium 24HR is my next step. After the initial 2-week trial, there may be next steps for which you should talk to your doctor. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again to Nexium 24HR for sponsoring this video. I hope you learned something, and we'll see you in the next one.